Hello again. It is Mitchell J, the Scaredy Cat Guide, and another crypto video. And what I want to talk about is using support levels to initiate a trade, an investment, a position in a cryptocurrency. Um, and the whole principle and idea of it is it forces us to buy on pullbacks as opposed to on rips or moves higher, if you will. So we'll look at Litecoin and Bitcoin real quick in particular. So as you can see on the chart, we have Litecoin up right now, and you will see that this blue line here, the 200-day moving average, which is really the only moving average I look at. I have that on the daily. It's kind of a long-term moving average that generally defines the direction of a crypto or stock for that matter. Generally, you want to be above it and see that, moving average slowly trending higher. We just broke down below that on Litecoin. I tested it back on March 18th. We got a small bounce. We really didn't get any kind of real bounce. I would have expected us to test this prior consolidation, this prior resistance here at a $1.89, $1.90. At least, and then pull back, but that is how weak the market is right now. So came back down and we blew right through the 200-day moving average. We've closed below it, and now this new daily candle has opened well below it, and so far is not looking all that strong. We shall see obviously what happens with that, but the bottom line is now that we've closed below the 200-day moving average, this is upside resistance, so to speak. That's the first level it needs to get above, but more importantly, it's the downside that we're talking about right now. So now that we essentially went through this last little low where we bounced and we closed below the 200-day moving average, our next target to the downside is these lows, which if you see these wicks here, these are the intraday lows on that given day for these candles. So you'll see we got a little consolidation there in the past where we topped out, consolidated before the parabolic move back in December. So this doesn't surprise me at all. If we actually end up trending all the way back to here where we were before this craziness happened, that actually would be pretty normal, and I actually expect it to happen. So right now we're looking at about $100 as the downside target. So now if you're not in Litecoin and you're looking to get into Litecoin, well, would you buy it here or would you wait for the opportunity at 100? Now, there's no guarantee that you're going to get an opportunity at 100, but the bottom line is if you get in at 100, you are now setting up a much better risk-reward scenario for yourself, and that's what I always talk about, having scenarios where your reward is larger than your possible risk. So, for instance, if you get in at 100, if we pull back and test these lows, whether we hold them or not, if you get in at 100, now your downside, your ultimate downside is 100 points. If like you were to hold Litecoin to zero. But your upside, well, your upside is the all-time highs. That is the upside target. So you're looking at 400. So now you have a, 3-to-1 risk-reward ratio. So now in that scenario, you can be wrong twice and still make money being right on the third time. And you can be wrong 3 out of 4 times and break even. And this is why we want good risk-reward ratios and profiles on all our investments. So the bottom line is use prior bottoms and support levels as entries. So clearly we're moving down. I have no idea where we're going to turn. We could turn right here and rip to 190. You never know what's going to happen. But the bottom line is you're just guessing. You're trying to catch a falling knife, as they call it. So right now, I'd rather sit on my hands and wait to see what happens, see if we get any kind of reversal, see if we do test 100, and if we do get down to 100, maybe I initiate a position there. We'll see what the price action is when we get there. But the bottom line is much better using 100, this prior bottom, as an entry target as opposed to just guessing where we're going to turn around. And if that means you miss an entry here or there, so be it. Because I'm going to tell you right now, more often than not, you're not going to miss an entry that just magically turns around in like the middle of nowhere. It happens, but less often than you would think. And in the end, this is all probabilities. So let's take a look at Bitcoin real quick, just because that's the lead dog. The long-term moving average I always talk about. We have essentially closed below it. So that's not good, at least on Coinbase. If you look at some of the other exchanges, we have not breached it yet. So I take this with a grain of salt, but at the same time, I keep an eye on it, and this is not positive. This is, essentially negative price action. So we will see this prior low here at 73.10. Are we going to trade down to that? Are we going to hold that? Because if not, and this isn't, this is basically a little baby hiccup of a bottom. We're looking at, testing these prior lows, downward to 6K. Obviously, upside, well, again, we want to get above this 200-day moving average, be on the positive side of it, and attack these prior highs at 11.5. But same thing as Litecoin. Am I looking to get long here? No. At a minimum, I'm waiting for at least a test of, this low at 73. But ideally, if we continue to trend lower, then I'm looking at around 6K to consider initiating a new position in Bitcoin. And again, this can be used for long-term investing. The bottom line is, even if I plan on holding Bitcoin for years, would you rather buy it at 6K or at 7,800? And again, better entries lead to better investments, better returns. Are you going to miss some entries sometimes because you might not get those pullbacks? Yes, but here's the thing. If we were trending higher, I wouldn't be looking for these pullbacks for entries. We are trending lower. So know the direction. And that's something I talk about in the third video of the Scaredy Cat Guide Investing in Crypto series, about time frame analysis and how we use larger time frames to recognize the overall direction of a crypto or pretty much anything that we're actively investing in, stock, commodity, currency, whatever, anything we can chart essentially. So look at the larger picture, understand the current direction, the current price action, and then act and invest accordingly. All right. Anyway, I will put a link to the cryptocurrency course in the video show notes. I'll also drop a link to the free ebook download for complete crypto and Bitcoin newbies that teaches you the basics of what Bitcoin is, how to buy it, how to sell it, how to store it in wallets and all that good stuff. It's really actually not as complicated as everyone wants to make it be. Yeah, so that's it for now. We'll see you on the next video.